All right, so we're going to talk about something a little bit different today, but it's real. So I'm going to give you guys raw, as always. So during the lockdowns of 2020, I found out something about myself that I didn't know. So of course, it's supposed to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it went on to 3 months for us here, or 3.5 months for us here, to where we could pretty much only go to the grocery store, and that was pretty much it. You were going to get some groceries, that was it. And the lockdowns really, it made me, they call it shadow work, and I like that word shadow work, which makes it sound so mystic and so cool. But basically what you do is you wind up being your own therapist. You wind up digging into your own psyche and going through things in your life and stuff like that. And I replayed a lot of things I did in my past. I replayed, my father passing away. There's a lot of stuff that hit me during lockdown because there was nothing really for me to do. Aaron was at work at the hospital dealing with COVID patients all the time. So basically I was home, locked down, alone a lot, and didn't have anything to do except just, watch YouTube, do whatever. It was a weird spot for me, and I did a lot of self-healing, self-soothing, whatever, however you would say it. So when I got COVID, it was 3 weeks for me. Some of you guys think it's not a big deal. For 3 weeks, I did not just leave the house. I was on the couch. I couldn't get off the couch. I would go to the bathroom and lay right back down. I was going, 6-7 hours, get up, try to drink a little bit of water, go to the bathroom, and go lay back down for another 5 or 6 hours and go to sleep, right? So I was constantly in this state of, it was like a cocoon, right? I was in my house. I hadn't gone outside. I hadn't gone to a store. It was actually worse than lockdown for me because I hadn't gone to a store. I hadn't done anything. It was literally laying in one spot for 3 weeks. And I didn't realize that, because this has never happened to me. I've never been down like this. I mean, I did have pneumonia in the past, and when I got over pneumonia, that was even quicker than COVID. COVID lasted longer than the chemical pneumonia. I've had flus that were 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 days, 4 days max. Gotten over those. I never have something that really laid me up for a month like that, almost a month. And I remember, getting up, and I was in my head, I was I just want to go back to my life. I want to be normal. I don't want to feel like this. I want to go to the gym. I want to see my friends. I want to travel. I want to do all my shit again. And I'm sick of, I can't sit here again, because your mind, it wanders for a while, but it was very weird because for me, when I was with COVID, my mind was I didn't know anything outside of this house. It was I would fall asleep and I would dream about shit happening in the house. I would be awake and look around and it was in the house. Everything was in the house. I didn't even realize at that point, strangely enough, because the fever had me so weak and delirious that I didn't know what was going on outside in the world. My wife tells me I do remember vaguely Christmas. She's I had to open your Christmas presents for you. I was sitting on the fucking couch, slumped over, and she was here's your present. She put it in my lap, and I was I couldn't unwrap a present. So she would take the paper off, she'd open the fucking box and be yeah, here's your fucking present. I'd be oh, it's so cool, awesome, I love it. It was that bad, guys. It really was that bad, but I wasn't ready for what was going to happen next. So be aware. If you get COVID like I did, some people get it, it's not a big deal. If you get it like I did and you were laid up that long, be aware. Some shit is going to happen when you're done. Now, you get over COVID, and I'm excited to go back to, to doing everything I normally do in my life. So I get out and I go for one lap around the block with Brady. My first lap with him in a month. And I was spent. The colors were bright. The wind was fucking whistling. I was fucking freaked out to be outside because I was so weak that if something happened, I couldn't defend myself. Not that I live in a bad neighborhood, I'm expecting something to happen, but if something happened, I couldn't defend myself. If another animal came after Brady while I was walking him, we have foxes and shit like that, there's no fucking way. I couldn't do shit about it. And I realized, dude, you're a little fucking baby right now in the world. You can't do anything for yourself. You're fucked right now. You literally are this elderly person, like my mom, with a walker. That's how I was. And it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't driven in a month, even longer, because I had been in Orlando and I was Ubering in Orlando, and I Ubered to the airport and back. Oh no, Erin picked me up when I came back. She dropped me off. I think I Ubered over there and she dropped me. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, I hadn't driven for like a month and a half. So I'm like, fuck, I can barely walk around the block. I can't defend myself in any way, shape, or form. I haven't driven. I don't even know what the fuck that's like. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Your mind gets fucked because you have this brain fog that comes from COVID, that you'll be like, I'll be driving and not know where the fuck I'm going, right? You're like, what the fuck are you be getting ready to go? And you're like, where the fuck are my keys? They're in your hand. Like, there's a lot of weird shit that came with it, but I wasn't prepared for when I got back to life, how much life had changed. Life had literally passed me by for a month. And I didn't know what things were different. Things were much different. Like when I went out there, I was like, I had COVID. People are going to know it. They're going to look at me weird. They're going to keep their distance. When I got out there and started talking to people, everybody fucking had COVID, right? I didn't know that was going on because I was fucked up. I knew a lot of people had it, but I didn't know all my friends had it. I didn't know a lot of people that went to Orlando had it. I had fucking no idea. I had no concept of what was going on around me. And all of a sudden I was just thrust back into the world again. And I was like, holy shit, this really is, a difficult thing to do, to transition back from like being a hermit for a month into, going back into public. And, I started doing the little things like walking Brady a couple more times, doing things like that. When I was able to eat again, interesting enough, one of the things that I could eat was Panera bread. They have a macaroni and cheese. I don't know why I craved that. I'd never had it before, to be honest with you. And I'm like, okay, I want to get that. So I actually went to Panera to get it. And while I was standing there, I was super weak. I mean, I was like, you guys saw me, I was deflated. I was weak. And I'm standing there and everybody's like, oh, masked up, right? And I walk in there without a mask because I'm fucking done with COVID. Like, I'm just done with COVID. It's Fairfax, Virginia. You don't need a mask, but everybody's losing their shit. It was like 2020 again. Everybody was scared of the virus. I didn't know. I had no idea because I was fucking laid up on a couch. I didn't know everybody was scared again. Everybody was masked up. So I walk in there and everybody's like fucking trying to get away from me and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Because I'm not wearing a mask. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This wasn't like this 3-4 weeks ago. So like things had changed dramatically while I was down. And it was like I came out into a new world. I was like, what the fuck is happening around me? And it was like a culture shock. I was like, what? As I came home and I told Erin, I said, what the fuck is going on out there? And we talked about it. She's like, yeah, it's been getting progressively worse because Omicron came along and et cetera. And it's hitting people, but luckily people are, recovering from it. They're not getting too sick, most people. And it really made people not scared of it anymore because a lot of people got it that were scared of it. So, and it was very mild. So a lot of people are kind of okay with it. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head going, holy shit. And I go back to the gym finally and I walk through the doors and everybody's like, hey. And you can tell they start looking at you like, they're looking at you because they know, like, they could see the weight loss. They could see how much you lost. And you haven't been around. And you've been sick and you told some of the people that, now that you're better on Facebook and Instagram that you were sick, but they didn't really see you in person to see how much you had shrunk. And then you get the questions asked and then the brain fog with, the post-COVID, people are asking you questions and you're like, I don't know. Like you're in a weird spot where you're small, weak, and your brain doesn't function properly. You are vulnerable as fuck when you come out of this COVID thing. That's just all there is to it. And I had no idea. I had no concept that was going on. My thing was like, when I was really sick, I was like, oh, this fever will break. I'll get some fluids in me. I'll be back in the gym. I'll be training hard. Everything's going to be cool. Everything's going to like that. And I didn't realize what a toll it took on me, but I didn't realize the toll that it takes on you mentally when you go back out there, right? New Year's, I didn't even know 2022 started. I slept through it. I had no idea. Like I knew that it was coming because I had a concept, right? But all of a sudden one day I wake up, it's 2022. I don't know what the fuck happened. Apparently New Year's happened. No concept, didn't see it, wasn't awake for the ball to drop or whatever the fuck. No concept. Just woke up and it was Sunday or Monday or whatever the case may be. And everybody's talking about 2022, 20. I was like, oh shit, we switched years. So I actually really kind of snapped out of the fog and stuff because I was super sick during the New Year after the year. So it was like 2021 just extended for me. I didn't even know that it was 2022. And I think that, people don't talk about this. I've talked to my other friends and said, were you like this? Were you like, yeah, how come you've never said anything? You never said anything to me. You've never put anything on social media. Why aren't you talking about this shit? Because people need to know what we're talking about right now. They need to know this stuff so that when they go through it, they understand how to navigate it themselves. We can be helping people. Why aren't we talking about this? And the general consensus is they don't want to appear weak to the public. I said, okay, why? You know, they want social media they want to portray in social media how strong they are, how alpha they are, how above everyone else they are, how they don't have any problems, how their body fights everything off, about how, and they try to downplay a lot of stuff. But then what happens? Somebody like me gets it, and, you know, Tony Hughes had the same experience that I did, right? So people like us get it, and they go, how the hell could it have hit you that hard? Because it hit other people that hard too, but you don't hear about it. Like, they don't talk about it to not appear weak to the general public. Dude, I was like a fucking kitten. I was so fucking weak. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be going out without Erin. I was like, maybe I should have her on my side over here in case something goes down. She'd be able to fight somebody before I would. Not that I'm saying getting into fights, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing to walk around, feel strong, feel healthy, feel good, right? That you feel like, hey, if something happens, like if an old lady falls down, I can pick her up and help her back up. You know, if somebody holds the door open for me, I can hold the door. Whereas when I'm super weak like this, I'm going to touch the door, it's going to knock me down. Right? Just little shit like that you don't think about. It's like you revert back to being like a little kid because you're like, fuck, the world suddenly becomes this big scary place, and you're like, all I do is sleep for a month. Yeah, but the world doesn't stop, right? And that was a real good lesson for me, that the world and people's lives don't stop just because yours stops, right? And people had noticed that I wasn't on social media. Social media passed me by. I went back on. There were different things in the news. People had babies. All kinds of shit had happened while I was out for that period of time, and I was like, fuck, that's crazy, right? And I don't know how many people have experienced this and haven't talked about it. You know, it took me a couple weeks of actually, you know, shaking my shit off and trying to, you know, to concentrate. But it was like, I can see very easily how it could take somebody a long time to recover from that, because you just want to give up. Like, you just want to stop and give up. You know, I try to feed my body with as many calories as I could. I try to put good calories in there, bad calories, everything in between, put my water in. Like, I try to do everything that I could to get my body back on track. And it was very delayed. It was very delayed compared to any other illness I've ever had. The mental aspect of it really fucks with you, because you re-enter the world after missing a chunk of life, not knowing what the fuck is going on. And then you just feel like you have to basically rebuild, right? So it's like, it's not like coming off an injury. When you come off an injury and you have one body part that's kind of injured or messed up or surgery or whatever the case may be, like, all the rest of your body still works properly, right? And your brain still works properly, and you still have the whereabouts and your wits to go in the gym and train things light if you want to, you know, while this is healing, you know, contralateral training, which I completely believe in. But when you get knocked down, it's not an injury, but you get knocked down with an illness like that, and your brain is not working properly, your body just went south. You know, you literally have completely degraded within a few weeks' time, which, you know, it's almost like having a wasting disease. And you're to the point where you've lost your confidence. You've lost your smile. You've lost your normal, everyday version of you to really just put you out there. You've lost it because you're like, this is fucking crazy. It reminded me a lot of withdrawals. Like, going through withdrawals, the outside world disappears. Like, you're in the thick of it. You're in knee deep in the shit. Like, you're done. You're going to be sitting there fucking suffering for 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. That's if you don't die, right? And then when you get out of it, you're weak. You know, your eyes don't adjust correctly. Your brain is not functioning properly. All that shit happens when you are going through withdrawals, and the bone pain is the worst. But take the bone pain out of it, and this was a lot like that experience, which I really don't want to experience that again. I'll be honest with you. I don't, you know, anything that reminds me of withdrawals and triggers that, I don't want that. That's the most pain I've ever felt in my life. That's the most horrible I've ever felt in my life. And this COVID is definitely the second worst thing that I've ever been through in my life. The second longest thing I've ever been through in my life too. Even the pneumonia was about a week. This is 3 weeks, and then, you know, another week to pull my shit together. So, you know, I think it's important for us to talk about this. If you've gone through this shit, put it in the description box. I mean, in the comment section below. Talk about it. Don't bottle it up. You know, put your shit out there. Even if you have 10 followers, dude, make a video like this. Put it out there talking about your experience. Put it out there and tag it all over the place, right? Put the real shit out there. I'm just so tired of people just making a highlight reel of their lives. And it's a bullshit PR thing on social media, right? It's public relations. Here's my new Versace outfit. Here's my new Louis Vuitton shoes. Here's my new Louis Vuitton purse. It's all this shit. And it's like, yeah, what happened when you got COVID? Oh, I didn't even know I had it. Meanwhile, like 3 weeks they were down. And they had their assistant posting pictures and shit like it was them. Then they come back and they're like, you know, they're still posting pictures from before because they don't look right. They start posting themselves, and the posting style changes a little bit. And then finally, when they're better, they start posting new pictures. This has happened with so many people, guys. You don't know. I mean, they have surgeries and they don't fucking tell anybody. They have plastic surgeries, they don't tell anybody. They have illnesses and they don't tell anybody. So many people out there that you follow do not tell you the truth. They don't tell you about what's going on with them. They don't tell you what ailments are having. If you really knew what some of these people that you follow have gone through, you would be shocked. They'd be even more relatable to you. You would love them even more if they actually told you, but they don't want to appear weak to you. They don't want to lose your respect, your love, your admiration, your follows, your likes, your fandom on them. They don't want to lose that. It's a very kind of a weird place to be, I think, that social media has become. And don't get me wrong, I like some of the pages that do the really cool pictures, the really cool videos. I get that. But it doesn't have to be all that all the time. Sitting down and talking to the camera from the heart, I think sometimes goes much longer way. And that's how I created my entire business model, was off just talking about real shit, right? I was talking about steroids, talking about heroin addiction, talking about child molestation, all the things that happened to me in my life, right? I talked about things that really nobody was talking about. I mean, Piano was talking about the drugs and stuff like that. Yeah, there wasn't many people talking about it, but at the time, I started talking about the drugs. Rich Piano was with Mutant. He wasn't doing the crazy shit he was afterwards. So I was one of those first people that was just like, I'm going to put it all out there, because I didn't understand, and actually until I met Rich, that a lot of stuff is for show. Rich using the fake weights for videos and stuff, that was for show. I didn't realize that shit actually happened. I thought if somebody's benching 500 pounds, they're benching 500 pounds. I didn't realize that fake weights existed like that, right? So there's a lot of things that I feel like social media disguises, and I think that it's not good. I really don't. I think it's unhealthy for mentally and physically for most of the followers that are following these people that don't tell the truth about what's going on with them. Especially celebrities and shit like that. They're always getting found out about did this, did that, did this, did that. And you're like, holy shit, like this one got arrested for cocaine. This one got arrested for fucking stealing an alligator. You're just like, that would be in Florida. So it just, the most random shit that happens. And then they have to apologize to the fans, apologize to the public. Well, hey, if you fucking preempted this with a video about this is how I live my life, this is what it is, you wouldn't have to be apologizing to anybody. You would have complete fucking freedom. And that's what I've always wanted, right? Live free. That's what it says on my fucking knuckles. Well, this one, you get this one off. You can tell I'm gaining weight again because I can't get my ring off. Live free, right? I got that tattooed on my knuckles before the pandemic, before coronavirus, before all this shit. Because I believe in living free, living a free life, doing what you want to do, but really being real about it, right? And if you're constantly trying to get the right angle or shooting things over again or photoshopping or whatever the case may be, you're not free. You're not living free. You're living in a matrix that you created yourself that you want people to view as who you are. You're creating a character. You're creating a long-term, ongoing movie, in a character rather than yourself. And I think that over time it falls apart. We're seeing something with Callum Von Monger right now. We're seeing, his whole life just fall apart. I mean, the guy was on the top of the world, and he's going through a lot of shit right now. Well, he's trying to talk about things openly. He's always kind of talked about things openly, but, social media for him has now become him talking about his real self, and people were all shocked. Well, here's the deal. If it wasn't all these pictures about how great he is and all these inspirational fucking things that he was doing before to gain all the followers, and he was just doing what he does now, then you would know the real Cal, right? And we're getting to know the real Cal now. So I just think that more people should be real and tell the truth and not hide the shit that they're hiding anymore. It doesn't do anybody any good. We all know that Instagram is everybody's highlight reel. Well, why don't you be different and make it your low light reel, right? Why don't you be different and put up some struggles? Why don't you be different and put up some shit that's really, really not a favorable way looking at you, that it doesn't look like you're on top? Because I'd be honest with you guys, you can get to the top, but it's very hard to stay at the top. Shit fucking goes like this. Everybody's life does this all the fucking time. It's like the stock market, jumping around, right? But we tend to see the only things on top on Instagram. Well, what about this? This is where you really change life. This is where you really help people. Down here on your lows. Not up here when you're selling them supplements. Not up here when you're selling them programs. Not up here when you're doing this. When you're down here. When the supplements and the programs and all this stuff goes away at the end of the day, they're just left with their thoughts and who they are in their room. That's where they need you, right? The other stuff is great, and you can still do that stuff, right? That could be your objective, is to say, hey, well, when you're up, we're here, but when you're down, we need to discuss that too. And I think that that's been a big missing part. And we're already going on like 19 minutes just on this part of the talk, so I don't want to make it too long because then people don't really watch the video. But yeah, week 4 starting off great. We're gonna see where we end up, and we'll keep moving forward. Try to stay injury free. But I'm going to keep talking about these things also, like, you know, the COVID thing. Like, there's other things that I've talked about or I've thought about in the last couple of weeks too that I think would make some pretty interesting videos to help people out. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Bioshooter and I approve this message. Brady's in there taking his 5th nap of the day, and we are out.